Well, welcome to today's episode of JetTalks. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing Jim, our illustrious CEO.
Thanks, Jeff, for having me.
Thanks for being available. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure to have you here.
I'm so excited to be in South Florida with you guys. It's really been a blast. Looking forward to many more adventures out here.
So, let's take a step back as a group, and for our clients, it's always good to maybe set the stage, right? So I'd like to start things off by asking the hard question of what is Jetstor?
Yeah, honestly, it's a horrible question I get asked all the time. At any networking event, I kind of start sweating bullets because Jetstor is a little bit of an odd duck in the industry. It's like, are you guys OEM manufacturer? Are you guys a VAR? Are you guys a disty? Are you guys a reseller? And the short answer is yes to all those questions. It's just entirely context dependent. And the reason we take this kind of multifaceted approach is that, we really just stand by a very simple kind of cliche maximum of the right tool for the job. And we find that in certain use cases and scenarios, either the right tool doesn't exist and we got to go make it, or the right tool exists with a fantastic partner of ours that we can offer that to our customers, or the right solution exists in a combination of a partner solution and our hardware substrate at the end of the day. So we take a very broad approach to storage in general, but all with the idea of just solving problems for our clients.
Yeah, fantastic. So it's not a one size fits all. It's more focused around solution to a problem.
Exactly.
Instead of a problem to a solution.
That's right. The fundamental difference of Jetstor to really, I think, everyone else in the storage market is this solution-oriented paradigm where we're not coming to you with a truck full of products that we're trying to shoehorn into what you're trying to solve. We're asking you first, what's your use case? What's your business objective here, right? And I think the technology aspect and the business aspect go hand in hand to delivering ultimately value for the client. And that's why for us, it makes the most sense to have this kind of hybrid approach to the storage market.
Interesting. Fantastic. Well, following on with the initial hard-hitting question, we'll follow on with another hard-hitting question of why Jetstor in the past and why Jetstor today?
Yeah, I think the answer to those questions are really one and the same. The reason why our clients come to us in the first place and why they continue to come to us, for over 30 years now, is really around the customer experience, customer support, and again, this solution-oriented philosophy of, we're going to do what's best for our customers, dependent on their use case, right? If you look at the historical feedback we've gotten from our clients, it's really been service-oriented. Jetstor offers phenomenal support. They were there to help us solve our problems. They went above and beyond. And that ethos really started with Gene, our founder, who's thankfully still with the company today. And it's the reason why I came on board to begin with, is having a service-oriented mentality for our clients that, you can go, buy a box from anybody on the planet, but it's going that extra mile for making sure that customers understand all of the implications about the technology decisions that they make and how that impacts their business beyond just the tech specs of what they're looking at.
Got it. So it's not just speeds and feeds, but it's actually aligning to the business.
And that's what I think people tend to miss about storage in general is, it's been around since the dawn of computing. So people think of it as kind of this abstract, one size fits all. But the reality is that the devil's in the details in that, fundamentally, we're just putting ones and zeros on some type of medium that comes out there. But there are a multitude of design decisions along the way that can make or break a use case or a deployment.
Interesting. I'm curious, a little bit off topic, but are you seeing a trend where maybe this skill set is waning a bit? Right?
I think so. One thing that's been interesting about coming into the storage industry as a youngish type person is that it's not as, I hate to use the word sexy, but I think it really applies to a career path where the cloud has been the de facto model for our adult lifetime, right?
At least for a decade.
Yeah. So people, I think, tend to go with a cloud first mentality and like kind of have forgotten a little bit about the infrastructure aspect that comes to it. But you know, just because there's a fancy API on top of it, like the infrastructure still matters, right? And that's really, again, like part of the value prop of Jetstor. Like, why would you even need a company that specializes in just storage to begin with, right? If storage is a commodity at the end of the day, right? It's like, well, like yes and no, right? It is a commodity in the sense that, again, like we're just storing data at the end of the day. But there are so many decisions and details that go into that people lose track of, that you have to consider from both the technical and business perspective.
Awesome. Well, we recently announced this new capability for the company. Can you tell me a little bit about JetProtect and what is JetProtect?
Yeah, absolutely. So JetProtect is really just formalizing the fantastic support that we've always delivered. And some customers really have asked us for further definition into what they can expect from a long-term relationship with Jetstor. Because again, I think the key differentiator about storage in general across all of computing is that ultimately it drives and is so foundational to the value that you get out of the IT landscape, where we all heard this phrase like data is the new digital gold or digital oil, right? So being able to have a long-term relationship with a vendor that understands, you're not just buying, some equipment, right? You are buying really the foundation for your business over time, right? As all businesses are becoming more and more data dependent, like you have to like understand all the implications that come with that beyond just like the technical side, right? So JetProtect is our way of saying, like, when you make an investment with us as a client, we're here to support you for the long haul, not just at point of sale, like here's your stuff, see you later. We're going to be involved with you week to week, month to month, quarter to quarter, year to year, keeping your existing equipment running top tier peak performance, giving you priority support, proactive maintenance, right? Storage is so foundational, it requires that extra level of care and maintenance to really like keep your business operations running 24/7.
Yeah, one of the hard lessons that I've learned over time, especially in the storage industry, and one of the most painful things I think for any administrator or anybody that's ever dealt with infrastructure as a service, is this idea of life cycling.
Yeah.
Right. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've had to, talk people off of a cliff after they bought something and realized that, hey, it was good on paper, but it didn't really fit my application very well. Or in a situation where they had to life cycle or refresh hardware, right, and cycle things out. What can people come to expect out of JetProtect in regards to the long haul, right? What do we define as long haul?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, like we've been in the business now for 31 years, right? And the long haul really is a multi-decade perspective, right? If you think about data and the lifespan and life cycle of this data, like companies that have been around again for decades, like they still have all of these records, all of this information, not to mention all the stuff that they're continuously generating day over day. And the vast majority of this data is not ephemeral, right? It comes down to the customer and their objectives for the data, but we're typically thinking in decade-long time horizons, right? Where yes, the infrastructure underneath can refresh on your typical 3 to 5 to 7 year average IT buying cycles, but the data itself, the stuff that actually like lives on that hardware, like that's forever, right? People and even partners of ours design solutions that are have centuries long time horizons, right? And I think that's really the more like forward-looking aspect of something like a JetProtect, is understanding that the infrastructure and the hardware is one thing, but the overall like lifespan of like the data itself is really the ultimate driver of value, right? And you have to have a much longer time horizon for the abstract data than you do for just like the machines that house it. Right?
Got it. Awesome. Yeah, honestly, I can't remember the last time anybody actually deleted anything, right? Maybe aged things out, but when it comes to the core principle of data and the value that resides within it, especially now in the digital age of AI, the race is more, right?
Yeah.
It's a velocity game of who can produce the most, who can actually extract the most value out of it. So it's fantastic to hear that we're committed to our customers for the long haul. Following on to that, let's talk about a little bit of kind of how the sausage is made in regards to our product line and what is it that we actually offer to our customers, right? There's this new line that we just recently launched called Jetstor Signature. Can you tell us a little bit about what Jetstor Signature is?
Yeah, Jetstor Signature is really meant to be like the upper echelon of our product offerings. It's our new flagship line. And the reason we developed Jetstor Signature is to offer a fundamentally extremely high quality base layer for our partners in the software-defined storage world. So Jetstor as a company, all we really want to do is sell hardware at the end of the day. That's been our bread and butter since the inception of the company, right? Mm-hmm. But the landscape of the software world is evolving such that, it used to be about who had the best box, right? The big iron players of the world would sell you on the on-box features of their platforms, things like data duplication, compression, remote sync, right? And all of these are like great features, but at the end of the day, they're software features, right? They're not necessarily hardware features, right? Mm-hmm. And so this idea of taking a hardware substrate and bolting on software features has evolved to the point now where software-defined storage is really the future of the industry. So in Jetstor's legacy product portfolio, we'll say, we didn't really have the capability to address these use cases, right? We didn't have a platform to go to market with software-defined storage vendors. So what we've done is we have taken a very broad and flexible route of offering really just top-tier components that are designed in conjunction with our partners to power their solutions. And what we find, again, I hate to use a cliche, but the right tool for the job is that the different software-defined storage vendors all have their own strengths and weaknesses and target markets that they go after. And they need hardware specifically designed for those business outcomes, right? So a quick example is you may have one partner that is doing, again, like a long time archival, with these 100-year time horizons, right? So that architecture is going to be vastly different than someone who is oriented for like high performance computing or real-time analytics. Going to the market with a cohesive solution of like, we have purpose built this hardware exactly to the specifications and requirements of our partners to ultimately deliver top tier outcomes for our customers.
That's so interesting, right? I think at the end of the day, the industry has become enamored with the softwareification of everything, right? The abstraction of everything into software, which frankly is driving velocity in the innovation and the creation of new features and new capabilities that are coming into it. But at the end of the day, right, all this stuff has to land on something, right?
It's got to live somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, that's why I came to Jetstor in the first place. Is the IT world is evolving so rapidly right now, and software is really the first target, right? Especially with AI, can write better code than I ever could. So I don't know what's going to happen if the robots are going to take all of our jobs, but they got to live somewhere, right? And so it makes sense, at least for me, to have a spot in this company.
Yeah. So don't let them just to run the code, but they got to remember what they wrote sometimes, and they need a place to go do that. Fantastic. So last question, right? Tell me about your strategy and how our clients benefit from partnering with us.
Again, our strategy is really very simple. It's an extension of the same thing we've been doing for 30 years. It's top tier solutions at a price point that actually makes sense, and coupled with just fanatical support and service to go along with. It's been our bread and butter for 31 years now, and it's what we're going to continue to do. Right? If you look at our overall portfolio, starting with Jetstor Signature as kind of the top, oriented for, again, more distributed, like high performance, high volume, high throughput use cases. But the reality is, like, most businesses don't need some
a terabyte of throughput
or
5 million IOPS.
exabytes worth of storage, right? And that's where we have a comprehensive suite of offerings that are tailored for whatever use case and, most importantly, like price point our customers are at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And having a very broad view of the entire storage landscape and really tailoring and selecting the best that the storage industry has to offer and wrapping that up for our customers is our strategy. At the end of the day, is we want to take the best that the storage industry has to offer, help our customers navigate all of the other associated challenges that go into managing an IT environment, from supply chain to availability to configuration to long-term life cycling, right? Coupled with, honestly, the best price point in the industry and the highest price to performance ratio in the industry.
Awesome. So if I could summarize that, it's basically eliminating the ego out of storage.
Yeah, you could say that.
Awesome. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. I really appreciate you joining us. And thank you, Jim, for spending some time out of your busy day.
Oh, thank you, Jet.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cheers.